Hello, welcome to another Premodern video, folks. We're going to be playing in the Magic Online Society League, and the deck of choice this time around is going to be Goblins. This is one of the most powerful decks in the format, and one of the many reasons why people are main decking cards like Engineer the Plague, and it feels kind of correct to do so. And the most important thing about this deck is that very synergy based, and it has a very powerful engine. Starring this guy right here, Goblin Lackey. Goblin Lackey allows you to get like very significantly ahead on mana by just coming down on turn 1 and they're starting to spit out your creatures. This deck has a lot of card advantage as well, so it can pivot between being aggressive, it can pivot between also going back and playing a grindier game. So let's go over the card choices here. We have our Goblin Lackey, as I was saying, our best turn 1 play, actually one of the best turn 1 plays in the entire format. Mogg Fanatic, which is surprisingly good. It can kill, there's a surprising amount of X1 creatures in the format, so Mogg Fanatic ends up trading evenly or up very often, and cards like, for example, Hermit Druid or like Mother of Runes, those are cards that you need to kill on sight basically. So Mogg Fanatic does that very well. Scare Prospector is there as another 1-drop that can allow us to get a nice little mana burst, and we can use our random goblins like Matron later in the game to sort of speed up our engine. We also have Goblin Pile Driver. This is the beater of the deck. 2 mana, 1/2 that then gets very big very quickly. So it's not uncommon for this one to be like the main way to win the game. A Goblin War Chief as a way to make all of our dudes cheaper and give them haste, which can be extremely relevant as well, of course. A Goblin Matron, as I was saying, is a way that we can basically have access to a toolbox of goblins, which is very nice. Jump Up Incinerator is part of that toolbox, but it's a 2 mana removal spell that we can tutor for with Matron, which is very nice. And it also draws a card in the process, which is very cool. We also have Ringleader. This is and these are the big payoffs of the deck. These are the card advantage cards. Ringleader reveals the top 4 cards, and then you put all goblins in your hand, so this ends up drawing between 2 and 3, 4 cards fairly often. So you can, in grindy matchups, you can Matron for Ringleader and sort of get ahead that way. And finally, Siege Gang Commander as our 5-drop, which it's going to put a bunch of dudes into play, and then you can go ahead and throw all of those dudes at your opponent's face. We also have a 1 of Goblin Sharpshooter. This card is very powerful on the format for what I was saying earlier, the amount of X1s. And not only that, but this guy can come down and literally blow up your opponent's entire elves board or something like that, and you can make it combo with Scare Prospector in order to take out X2s and bigger as well. So you can like ping something that suck a random goblin into your Prospector, then ping it again and kind of go off that way. We also have a Singleton Goblin King. This is a way to play around cards like Engineer Plague that I was mentioning earlier. And not only that, but you also get the Mountain Walk, which matters a lot in this format because there's a lot of there are a lot of good red decks, and not only that, but even decks like Elves or some other survival decks splash red, specifically with a Mountain because of Anger. So you get to basically turn all of your dudes unblockable in a win, which is pretty cool. We also have access to a couple of copies of Naturalize, which we're literally splashing for. These are the only green cards in the deck, and you'll see that we have Wooded Foothills and a Singleton Basic Forest, as well as Carpeton Forest. But Naturalize is extremely powerful in the format, to the point where a deck like this one is main decking a couple of copies and has 2 more in the sideboard as well. And this is the kind of deck that can have a couple of dead cards just because there are certain cards that it cannot beat, right? Like something like an Ensnare Bridge, or something like a little bit different, for example, I don't know, like a Phyrexian Dreadnought in the early game. Like those kind of cards are basically unbeatable for this deck. So just having access to a couple of copies of Naturalize is can be very powerful. We also have access to Rishadan Port and Wasteland as well. These are our ways of mana denial, which, as I was saying, we can get ahead on mana with Lucky, and then we can sort of keep our opponents on the back foot. You will notice that there's more ports than Wastelands, which is weird to see in a deck like this. We're accustomed to seeing Legacy Goblins, which obviously Wasteland is insane in that deck because of Feathervile. Here we're going with ports because there's actually a ton of basic lands in the format. Like basic lands are actually very popular and very good. So because they're widely played, port ends up being more relevant in a vast range of situations. In the sideboard, we have 1 extra Goblin King and 1 extra Sharpshooter. These are pretty strong cards in the matchups where they're good for, so having access to extra copies can be very, very impactful. Naturalize and Tranquil Domain is a card that we don't really see very often, but you destroy all known aura enchantments, so against decks like Enchantress or particular decks like Parfait, which are very popular these days, this card can be an absolute banger. Elemental Blast and Pyroblast, obviously against blue decks, Dreadnought, etc. Anarchy, specifically versus white decks. There are some white Winnie decks in the format, and there's also enchantments like Worship or Land Tax that you really want to get rid of. Pyrokinesis, this is mostly for Mirror Match and other creature decks, namely Elves, and a couple of copies of Tormod's Crypt against the graveyard strategies on the format. That's your Angry Hermits, that is your Fab, Full English Breakfast and stuff like that. So pretty well varied deck list. This is going to be my first time playing Goblins in an event like this, so it's going to be very, very interesting. I've played Goblins before, but never in Premodern, so it's going to be very exciting to check it out. If you're enjoying the content, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, and if you would like to support my content, you can do so by using the actual supporters of the stream in Mana Traders and TCG Player. If you would like to get a renter service, you can use Mana Traders. Obviously is what I use, so I recommend their service, and you can get a 10% discount with the code that you will find in the description of the video, as well as if you use the link of both Mana Traders and TCG Player, you will be supporting the stream for free and no extra cost to you. And also, if you would like to further support the stream, you can do so through Patreon. Sign up for Patreon. You can also make donations. With any donation of $30 or more, I will play any decks of your choosing in any format of your choice as well. And if you would like to take your game to the next level, you can also book coaching sessions with me as well. That's it for now. Let's jump on to round number one. Round number one, and they say the perfect hand does not exist. We keep this one. Turn one, Lackey. Turn two, Pile Driver, Siege on the play. Sounds reasonable. Got them Lackeys. Opponent moves to 6. Brushland. Let's see what my opponent's doing over there with their Brushland. Attack. Or do we have Slurs to Plowshares? This basic forest is kind of hurting me pretty significantly here. We're going to see the plow. We are. Okay. So I'm going to play another Lackey instead of playing Pile Driver. Really awkward with this basic forest, because I could be doubly... If I get like 2 Lackeys into play, like that's just ridiculous, right? Basic forest. Let's see what my opponent's up to over there. War Chief is kind of interesting. Do we have another plow? All right. Let's do this one more time. But each new time that this happens, it gets worse for me, because now my opponent's gonna have access to 3 mana. So at this point, they're probably gonna be able to have a blocker for this. My silly 1/1. Maybe they're playing Parfait or something like. Oh, Parfait doesn't play Brushland, so it can't be Parfait. Yeah. So if this had been like a forest, like one here. Oh, this could be Prison Oath. Maybe that's what it is. Oh, Alright, we do get to connect. Here's the Sage Can. I could try to like get lucky and like Ringleader to try and get what's his name here? To try and get Scared Prospector. Probably not the way to go. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So this is Lethal Assist. If my opponent's gonna do something silly, oh, Enchantress. Alright. This is lethal. So, yeah. War Chief you, just because I can. Do we have Fog? Triggers. No Fog. Alright. So, honestly, still not sure what it is. Like, it can't really be Enchantress, right? Because if it were just straight up Enchantress, then they wouldn't have Gaia's Blessing nor Swords to Plowshares. But the Sterling Grove is very tricky. I guess regardless of what it is, these are coming in just because of what I saw there. The Gem Pumps can go probably a Sharpshooter as well. Anarchy? Do I want to risk bringing in Anarchy? Huh. I guess so. I still don't know what my opponent's up to, but maybe they're playing something like Solitary Confinement or not. So this looks good, I think. With the information that I have, I think this is how I want to sideboard, and I don't want any of these other cards, but Opponent says I couldn't source 3 lackeys, yeah. 1 lackey too many. Tranquil Domain is interesting here. Alright, yeah, I'm keeping this. Again, still don't know exactly what my opponent's up to, but I'm assuming... I mean, it could be Oath. Just, what's the version of Oath that people are playing? Like Prison Oath. That's what people are playing right now. That deck looks really good, by the way. Oath of Druids. Swing. Good. Destroy that Oath. Get it out of here. So my best draw is probably Naturalize, I would imagine. Having to use a Tranquil Domain there is kind of awkward because I really just have to. I don't really have too many options. But yeah, I really wish I could have done something else. So this seems to be, yeah, this just seems to be Prison Oath. So we're just gonna play a Lackey and a Pile Driver and just say go. Next turn I can serve. Obviously not this turn because they just block with the treetop, but next turn I can attack. If my opponent puts the treetop in front of the Goblin Pile Driver, that's good for me. Kind of want to dodge Oath number 2 here. Funeral Pyre, just to make it 1/1. Huh. Okay. You gotta do what you gotta do, I guess. That's good versus Gaia's Blessing or the Excavation, which is a 1 mana. It's basically 1 mana instant regrowth for artifacts. Artifacts or enchantments. Oh my god! That's sick! Dragon Scales. Holy. Alright. You got me. I mean, I have no removal for creatures, so. That is so funny. So, we drew Matron. If I attack with all 3 of these, what's going to happen? My opponent's just going to jump in front of the Lackey. But I can't Matron for Gem Palm. That's not an option. I can get in for 6 if my opponent does not have a Plow. So I think I just play Pile Driver plus Fanatic here and say go. And next turn we can present a much better clock. Now each one of these is going to be a lot more threatening, so even if my opponent activates Treetop and they throw it in front of one of these, like at least the Lackey connects, or vice versa. Vigilance surprisingly relevant right here, which is quite funny. Oh, it's a good attack right there. I'm going to Matron this turn, and I'm gonna get the Haste Goblin that makes everything 1 cheaper. I can't remember the name. War Chief. So what I'm trying to do here is next turn I'm gonna set up, because my opponent has like 2 treetops that they can only activate 1, and I'm assuming they have something like Swords to Plowshare. So what this means is next turn I can just go War Chief, sack Matron, play another Pile Driver, and we can just get in a nice little hit there. Opponent can throw the Spirit Token into the garbage and the Treetop Village. But then if the Ringleader connect, like if the Lackey connects, like at that point I'm gonna have 3 Pile Drivers, each one of them swinging for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So each one of them swinging for like way too much damage, and then and that should be enough to sack a Gobbo. Here's a Pile Driver, and now we serve with everything. Get in there, boys. So opponent could have like double plow on 2 Pile Drivers, plus block with Treetop on the other Pile Driver, plus block with Spirit Token on the Lackey. And if they have all of that stuff, then that's great, like awesome for them. But because I also think that I'm under a little bit of a clock, right? Like, 'cause I still need to beat stuff like Oath. Like, it's not that this game is just gonna continue like this and then it's gonna be smooth sailing from there, right? We still have to beat the rest of my opponent's deck. So, okay. So, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So this is exactly lethal as is. My opponent's gonna need a Swords to Plowshares here. It's not a Swords to Plowshares. Play a Ringleader. So the nice thing here is like, maybe they have, I was gonna say, yeah. So maybe they have a way to gain life. Like, I don't know their exact deck list. So I'm just gonna sack this Lackey, play a second Milk Fanatic, and then on my opponent's upkeep, I'm gonna ping them with Fanatic. And then I can, if they have like a way to gain life, they have to cast it on their own turn. And then I have, maybe they have like a gain summon or whatever. Enlightened Tutor. So now this probably makes it very unlikely that they have 2 ways to gain life for only green and white. So I'm gonna go for it now. And I think that this should be game. Dueling Grounds. Boom. We got there. 1-0. Round number 2 with the Gobos. And this is a decent looking curve. I'll probably keep this. We're gonna go turn 1 Fanatic, turn 2 Pile Driver, turn 3 Goblin King, swing for a bunch. We can also interact with Wasteland, which is nice. It's not a bad one. Basic Highland is probably scary for us. The most popular deck right now. It's Mono Blue Dreadnought, which is a pretty bad matchup for Goblins. Pretty bad matchup overall. Oh, Dust Bowl. Okay, so it's not that. Okay, so let's get in there with Mog Fanatic. And now we actually have an interesting choice. So my opponent did nothing last turn. Because I can just Wasteland my opponent. I think I'm going to go for that. I'm going to put a stop on my opponent's upkeep. If they impulse in my end step, then I'm going to blow up their land. But they do impulse. So I'm assuming Standstill or something. So yeah, let's blow that up right now. And then pass it back. Would have been great to have a 1-drop there. Factory, Powder Keg. Okay, that's fine. So let's play Pile Driver. We're gonna swing here. Factory, it's a little bit of a beating actually. So I think my plan is gonna be to Matron for Gem Palm. And that's gonna check. Oh, or I can just, draw the Gem Palm. Does Gem Palm do it though? Yes, it does, because I can, in response to the factory activation, I can just... So they crack this for 1? Okay. Well, that makes things a lot easier. Now I just Matron, right? So that blows up the Fanatic, and we just traded a Powder Keg for a Mog Fanatic. It's not bad. Obviously not gonna attack now, but... Do I War Chief or do I Matron? I think I War Chief. I think it's gonna eat a counterspell regardless, or like a Plow or whatever. But... War Chief allows me to multi-spell in the future. But yeah, there's the Plow. Unsurprisingly. Next turn I could Ringleader, I guess. If I draw land. Hey, yeah. Yeah, it's actually... Let's Matron into Lackey. I think I do like Matron into Lackey here. It's a little bit weird. But I think that if I Matron into Lackey here, I'm basically forcing a Wrath, which then clears the way for my Ringleader. Because right now my opponent could be holding counter spell, right? They could just cast Foff here, which would be a little bit of a problem, but okay, that's not double white. All right, so Plow, Mana Leak. I mean, this is a known card, so it's basically, do I want my opponent to have a land and a Plow? Decree of Justice, Seal of Cleansing Leak. I think this is fine. I think I'm more scared of land plus Plow right now than any of the other things. And if I find land, I can go like Golden King into Gem Palm, which is nice. Basically blanking my opponent's double blocks. Okay, so they go for Seal, Leak, Decree. This has actual 0 targets. The Seal of Cleansing, that is. Prospector. So if I serve, I think I'm in a Ringleader. So this is going to force Counterspell. Or, I mean, I just draw a bunch, right? So there we go. That's the Mana Leak. And now I'm going to swing. And my opponent can either block Lackey or trade Factory. Trade a land for my Pile Driver. Interesting that they tap like that. I would assume they would have wanted to represent Plow, but this basically means they don't have Swords to Plowshares, right? So we get in there for 6 damage, which is not the worst. They still have Decree and Seal. Second Factory is actually quite annoying. Trans 1 like 2/2s are well positioned versus my 1/1s. Here's the Goblin King. Still no double white, by the way. Counterspell. Okay. Here's Prospector. Pass the turn. They can cycle Decree for 1. I doubt they're going to. Still no double white. 5 cards in hand though is a bunch. Siege Gangs, not bad. If I attack with everything, I think that's fine. They do cycle decree. 3 soldiers. Let's see how my opponent chooses to block here. I'm gonna wait for them to choose blocks. I imagine they're gonna put 2 in front of the pile driver and then 1 in front of the prospector, and then I could just kill one of these. So cycle gem palm, kill one of these soldiers, draw land. Land's not great. Would love to find a target for this naturalized, but I don't think my opponent's gonna be opening up their factories unless it's like very good for them to do so. There's the seal, which does literally nothing. I guess they could have tied. But if they tied, then I just blow up the seal in response. Port is not a bad draw, actually. So now we get to attack with both. This is 4 points of damage. They activate there. I guess I can port it. Tap target land. Now they can activate the other factory and I can just... Okay. They're gonna pump. And now I found the target for my naturalize. Boom. Take 4 down to 4. And then if I resolve Siege Gang, then we're looking good. There are some combinations that... Wow! Wow! We got there. Sick. That was awesome. Alright, so obviously Pyroblast and Rebs are great. Naturalize is interesting. Anarchy can kill their dudes. Probably don't need Goblin King. Sharpshooter's probably sick. Fanatic I can probably take a couple of them out. Although like leading on a 1-drop is very impactful. I think I'm gonna cut the naturalizes. Bring in Mulk Fanatic. And probably maybe Mulk Fanatic over Gem Palm. They could have stuff like Circle of Protection, which maybe makes Anarchy a little bit more tempting. Maybe just as a one-off is fine. It also cleans up all of the soldier tokens. Alright, what do we got here? No turn 1 lucky. So unlucky. Yeah, I'm pretty sure nobody ever thought of that one before. I mean, this is a slow hand. Is it worth keeping though? Like I'm going to basically go nothing on 1, nothing on 2. But then my cards are actually quite impactful. Let's try this. It's possible that this is just bad. Also, I guess I have no green cards in my deck because I cut the naturalizes, so I can just fetch for a basic mountain, which is nice. So I can have my mana nice and clean. Mold to 4. Damn. Just mulligan in for turn 1 plow. My hand's pretty good against the turn 1 plow, let me tell you. I'm probably cycling this Gem Palm on 2. I'm not like super stoked about it, but standstill. Okay, that's a way to undo the card disadvantage. Wasteland not looking great. When do I pop the standstill? Like, I'm hitting my land drop, so I think until I stop hitting my land drops, I'm not gonna pop the standstill because I don't want my opponent exactly. Like I'm hitting my land drops and my opponent is not, so it's probably good for me. And that's the reason, like, I kind of want to draw more mountains or like more lands, so that's why I'm not cracking the fetch, because hitting my land drops is my current strategy. And my goal is to get to a point where I'm just like casting multiple spells in the same turn. So now I'm going to be cycling Gem Palm this coming turn. But yeah, Standstill really slows the game down in a significant way. Okay, that's another land. That's fine. So now I'm going to be able to kind of go ham when I finally crack the Standstill. And if my opponent does not continue hitting land drops, then it's going to get to a point where they're going to just have to go to discard. Great draw. Pretty good draw. Another land? Oof, unlucky. Okay, so I guess we're popping here. Because otherwise I'm going to have to go to discard myself, and that's obviously not where I want to be, so... Let's go 1, 2, 3. Matron. Yeah, draw your cards. Draw your cards. So they fetch. Imagine they're going to get... Oh, more islands. Interesting. Okay. That resolves. Okay. So let's get a Lackey here. Let's cast a Lackey, because this plays around Mana Leak very nicely. And if this resolves, I think I'm just going to pass the turn back. So now I don't have to go to discard, and I'm playing around Mana Leak very nicely. The problem is I really want to deploy my threat, so I'm just going to play a Milk Fanatic here. Maybe both of them. Nah, this is just fine. Because next turn I can go... no, actually I'm going to play the other Milk Fanatic. So next turn I can go War Chief into play a bunch of things, so... Pretty sure the Hidalaki is gonna eat it. No, impulse. Okay. They didn't fetch for double white. Did not fetch for double white. Plow. Okay, that's fine. There's the land. Powder keg. Okay. So let's go. I think I'm gonna go War Chief into Sharpshooter. And if this resolves, that's gonna be so much damage. Okay, so here's the mana leak, I guess. Finally baiting it out. Oh, okay. Sure. Move to combat. Swing for 3. Down to 15. We're gonna fetch. Okay, so opponent does fetch. Down to 14. Another basic island. Very surprised by that. Powder keg. I mean, they kind of have to pop this now. Otherwise, they take twice the damage for no reason. If I were my opponent, I will be just popping right now. Unless they have Wrath, obviously. Maybe they have Wrath into Standstill. That would be pretty brutal. Humility. Okay. So I just have a shit ton of 1/1s now. They take it. Wow. Okay. So here's that. Here's that. So I guess maybe they did have already Humility. Oh, I should have. Oh, that was bad. I should have Wastelanded. I was focusing on being mana efficient and I messed up. Like I should have actually Wastelanded the Darker Wastes because now I played into Wrath. Yeah. I actually, yeah, this was just a bad play. Yeah, that was just a terrible play. I kind of got blindsided there. I mean, they did have the other land, so it wouldn't have mattered too much, I guess, but Wasteland. 5 mana 1/1. I have no answers to Humility, so I mean, obviously I'm going to change how I sideboarded it, right? Now that I have more information. Now that I have more info, I'm obviously going to keep those naturalized, at least a couple of them. So many 1/1s. So if they have Decree, I'm probably dead here. But I can't really play around anything, so... Alright, I've seen enough. Okay, 2 naturalizes. Get in there. Scout on a Elemental Blast, and maybe Prospector? Anarchy would have been a good draw, actually. Scout a Fanatic. Alright, let's do this. Sure. Yeah, sounds great. This hand is Fanatic. Fantastic. Turn 1 Fanatic, go. Painland. Pingya. Kind of surprised to see that, honestly. Yeah, let's fetch for another basic mountain here. I think I don't want to drop any more lands, so it's kind of free to fetch. That's a costly first land to play. Swing. Now the question is, do I want to play Matron into Mana Leak? Like this draws obviously have not been working out great for me, but I think I do want to play Matron here. I really need to continue developing my board. There's honestly an argument for just like playing out at 3 mana 2/1. Matron resolving is huge. So let's go for Ringleader. So now if my opponent taps out on my turn, then we get to punish them, which is nice. And if they don't tap out, then they start taking damage, which is also good for me. And again, I can always just deploy this as a random 2/1 that just has the creature type Goblin on it, and that's valuable enough. Although I can get owned by Humility. Cop red. Okay, so we do get to resolve Ringleader. So opponent's gonna be taking 3 at least. Boom, boom, boom. Bottom the Anarchy, brutal. Get in there, kids. Get in there, boys. Plow. Okay. I mean, they still take 3. Next turn, we Matron. I mean, this card is great against us, but it's pretty mana intensive. Powder keg. I think that's fine. So we have no haste threats. Ooh, never mind. Cancel that order. Does this one resolve? It does. I think I want a Matron this turn. Probably gonna get another Ringleader here to set up for next turn. Ringleader. Take some damages. So they're gonna take 2 here. But again, like this is tying up my opponent's mana every single turn. Then we're gonna have Fanatic that can go face. Opponent can Wrath here, and we're gonna get to go Ringleader into Fanatic, which is also pretty decent. Alright. We get to untap. And now we have some interesting options here. Because I can go... If I play a Ringleader, that probably baits out the counterspell if my opponent has one. I think I have to, though. So now they have to do something about this. They don't. Just a Sharpshooter. Anarchy has been bottom again. That's brutal. Can I play another Matron? Can play Pile Driver. I think we serve. And that's going to, if they do the thing, that's going to tie up my opponent's entire mana. If they want to block with Factory, we get to incinerate it. So they copper that one. Copper that one. Let's see if they play around it or not. Maybe they get greedy and we get to punish them. They don't. Okay, makes sense. Alright, so everything has been cop-redded. But now I get to deploy my Matron for probably another Ringleader. And then pass the turn. I can bring this up to 2. When they get to 3, they're probably going to pop this. I would imagine. It's another land. Wrath. Holding up counterspell. It's pretty good. That is pretty good. Carplucent Forest. Here's Ringleader. Probably going to get counterspelled. And now we get to go Fanatic, which Powder Keg cannot stop. Really gotta find one of my naturalizes here. Even Pyroblast would have been great, because if I get to resolve that Ringleader, then things start to go well for me. So here's this, and I guess I'm gonna play Pile Driver, Sharpshooter. Oops. If they FOF here, that's such a beating for me. Let's go with Pile Driver. Kill you. Oh, that's funny. I can sack for red, but then that makes it so my dude can't ping again. Alright, that's fine. You got me. Okay, so I really gotta get that naturalize going. FOF is devastating. Decree is not so bad. Decree is fine. Decree for 3 is not a big deal. FOF would have been a lot worse for me. The problem is Decree gets my opponent closer to Factor Fiction, right? So that part's not good. Naturalize. Reshadow Port. Okay, so I guess I'm gonna upkeep Port. Please don't FOF me. No! No! Alright, so now we're in trouble. Is this what I want to do? What do I care most? Like, obviously it's gonna be like Mana Leak on 1 and then Plow on 1 versus Powder Keg. But I think Plow is actually better than Powder Keg. Is it? Yeah, I guess so. I guess it is. That's one of my favorite things about this format, how, you know, Factor Fiction is like a real card. So upkeep, Port, your that painless white source, and pass it back. Imagine they're gonna play out Powder Keg. Still holding up Mana Leak, so I have to watch out for that. They're gonna attack with Soldiers and just like cop the Pile Driver. Probably not a great play. Like there's just no reason for my opponent to get aggressive like that. Second Powder Keg. Okay, so if they blow it up on 2, they blow up their own Powder Keg. I think I'm gonna cycle. And if my opponent wants to cop this, that's fine. They don't. Okay, so we got rid of a token for free, which is nice. Not a bad draw. Not a bad draw at all. Do we have Counterspell as well as Malik? Because otherwise, this is lethal. Oh, it's not. They can just cop in response, obviously. That's right. They can just do that instead. So this blows up the Soldier tokens and the Circle of Protection. Interesting. So we just take 2. Opponent still holds up Mana Leak. So this is 2 points. Go to untap. Gonna Port the Painless White Source. Still know about Mana Leak. I imagine one of these kegs is gonna get blown up to kill both of my dudes. Standstill. Okay. Untap. Another Port. Move to combat. Okay. Ping you. Take 1. I'm gonna tap that in response. Damn, what a close game. So if they have Decree, I guess we lose. But I can't beat Decree regardless. Second Port is kind of a great draw. Maybe Wasteland would have been slightly better draw. We know one of their cards is Mana Leak. Dust Bowl maybe is a problem. Oh, Powder Keg doesn't blow up enchantments. I'm an idiot. Just being silly. Just being silly here. Obviously this is good for my opponent. I'm still getting familiar with one of these cards. Like I remember playing with Powder Keg way back in the day. But that's obviously not the case anymore. Well, here's a point of damage. So I think we're gonna Wasteland the Factory. And then upkeep, Port, Basic Island, and Port the other white source. It's been a pretty swingy back and forth game. It's been pretty enjoyable. Another Port, sounds good. Port. And port. So much porting, so little time. Well, that's funny. That is very funny. That is quite hilarious. Untap. They found another painless source, which is bad for me. I think I'm blowing it up. Just throwing all of my lands. So are they, for what's worth. It was interesting there to board the Flooded Strand and then wasteland it, but obviously with them drawing the Coastal Tower, that just doesn't make any sense. What a silly game. This game has become so silly now. Port you. Port you. Port you. Yeah, it's pretty brutal that they managed to find all of their... They managed to be hitting their land drops. Because if I can kind of... With a standstill, my option is to just tie them on mana. And then just like do a bunch of things on the same turn. But obviously that doesn't work when my opponent has even more lands than I do, right? Okay, so they found a decree. To be fair, my opponent should probably be cycling decree if they can. Another island. Ugh, what's a war chief? Man, this last 3 points of damage are gonna be rough. This is one of those spots where having a bunch of experience playing Magic Online in particular really helps my chances, because like I am the one doing all the porting, but I am so far ahead on clock that it still doesn't matter too much. And this is because I've been playing so quickly the entire rest of the match. So it kind of works out in my favor. Siege Gang. So this is 5 plus 4 plus 2. That allows me to go War Chief, gets countered, then... So I'm trying to plan what's going to be, whenever I do have my big turn, what sequence of plays I want to happen. Because it needs to be one swing, right? I can't just mess around. It needs to be one big swing where I just do everything in a single turn. So drawing more lands is fine. Another Siege Gang, interesting. Another Siege Gang is interesting. Having drawn out 4 ports is just... it's just very funny. I mean, it just kind of was the best thing to happen for this specific match, for the way that this specific game played out. But yeah, this is one of those things that only really works on MTGO, right? It doesn't really work on Paper Magic, because in Paper Magic you kind of have a share the clock. All right, port you, and port you, and port you. And I think I'm going to instead port the Flooded Strand here to force the action. My opponent has so much mana though. Porting the Flooded Strand worked. Okay. Is this the big turn? I don't think so. Don't think we're there yet. We still have more draws. Get all them white sources. Get all them white sources. So what do they have to counter is the question. So they probably have to counter Siege Gang, because I can just sack all my dudes and go face. This is 7 cards, so I'm probably going for it next turn. Next turn is the final turn. They just pop their own... Okay. And I'll take this. Oh, they kind of have to counter that too. So this versus everything else. Dust Bowl is actually pretty good here. So are we doing this? No, Plow is just way too important. Yeah, let's do this. Plow Darker Wastes is what goes to hand. Okay, so we're gonna discard 1, 2, 3. I think so. Tap that. Tap that. That one too. Play another stance. Okay. So at this point, am I just decking my opponent? I think I may be able to deck them. So let's lead on War Chief. Draw 3. Imagine we're going to counterspell here, yes. So then 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's go for Siege Gang. Hydroblast. We know about the mana leak, we know about the plow. So that puts us in a pretty precarious spot here. Let's go with Pile Driver. And the last thing I'm going to play is going to be the Mock Fanatic. Although I guess they can just like this point. So I imagine they're going to just plow the pile driver here. Impulse. It's going to be tough for them to finish this game in time, however. What is this? Kirtar's Desire? So it's like a one... That's kind of a sick deck. Like a 1 mana Swords to Plowshares for like more answers to Lucky and stuff. That's kind of fun. Alright, I'm into it. Cleanup Step. What are you discarding, opponent? Another Standstill. Just don't want to keep drawing cards. Oh, there we go. Okay, so... Here's a Goblin Matron. We doing anything about this one? It resolves. Okay. Say yes, and let's find this Ringleader guy. And then I'm gonna play a Mog Fanatic. Let's see if we're doing something about that. We're not. Pass it back. So every white source is painful for them. Cycle Decree. Opponents at a virtual 1. 7 1/1s. So we untap. We're 1 point of damage away from winning this game. Because this is 1. So we're gonna tap that land. And we're going to tap that land because these are off. These don't do anything. We're actually very, very much in this game. We are very, very much in this game. If they attack with everything, they just lose the game now. I mean, I guess they're losing to time. That's why they're attacking with everything. So I guess it makes sense. But like, I think we actually win this. Like, given infinite time. Because like next turn, like my opponent's out of cards. Next turn, they just go for... it's too late then when you're doing like... It's rough that when you're doing tournament practice, you just kind of... You're in this spot. But I think we would have gotten there. Like, because next turn, like, I do have the Mock Fanatic in play. I'm playing a haste threat. My opponent needs to do something about it. So... then we have the Pyroblast to fight back the counter war. We were very much in that game, which is really impressive. I'm kind of digging this Goblins deck. I'm kind of digging it. Okay, round number 3. What do we got here? Turn 1, Fanatic. I think we keep this. Any land, and this hand kind of goes bananas. The Naturalize is kind of a mull to 6, but this feels like a decent mull to 6, right? We even have Port to actually do something on turn 2, which is nice. So even if we don't draw anything, we can still disrupt my opponent in a semi-meaningful way. Turn 1, Karplus and Forest. Okay, so now we're given an option. Do we want to Port or do we want to Mog? I think that I want to Port, and this is because my opponent did nothing on their first turn. Like if they want to bolt my Mog Fanatic, like I'm happily taking this, right? Oh yeah, big time. So now, hopefully, it's going to be like another Time Walk. Also, this bolt could have gone towards my War Chief, right? And instead, it like killed my 1/1, who got me a shock out of the deal. Foothills. I wonder if that's because they're trying to enable a 1/1, and then we get like the full blow. If I find a land, and I get to like also... yeah. So, is this... This can't be... What's his name, right? Ugh. Man, that Goblin Lucky draw is so brutal. I think I'm gonna play the Lucky here, which means my opponent gets to they get to Korean Ranger or something. It's gonna give them more mana, which is rough. But we get to kill their thing next turn anyway, if we want to. Wall of Roots is rough. What the hell is my opponent up to over there? Library. Huh. Okay. Am I trading here? Probably not. Okay, so another Port. So now we have options. I can Mog Fanatic to kill the Ranger plus Port and continue working on my opponent's mana. I can Matron. If I had double red, I think I would go for Matron because Matron would allow me to go. Matron would let me Matron for like Gem Palm. But since I don't have another, I think we're just going to attack here. My opponent's obviously going to block, but it's a free attack because I'm not blocking either. Yeah, I think I'm just going to go for Matron. And I think I'm going to get Gem Palm to try to draw some stuff. I don't know how much time I have because I don't really know what my opponent's up to. Also, you know, if they actually play a basic mountain, we can potentially blow them out with Goblin King. My best draw is probably like another red source, preferably a basic mountain. They don't draw with library, which is interesting. 4 mana. Please don't Avalanche Riders me or something like that. I honestly would rather they Flametongue Kabu me than Avalanche Riders me. No! No. That's brutal. Alright. There goes my red source. Red source. Come on. No. No. I'm just gonna pass it back, I guess. We'll see if they pay for Echo. I assume my opponent's playing survivals in their deck. Definitely no way of knowing, of course, but this is looking pretty similar to the deck that I played like 2 or 3 leagues ago. I can't remember anymore now. But it looks very similar to that. I've seen some other like more aggressive builds with like some extra 1-drops and without lightning bolts, just going a little bit deeper, like a little bit heavier on creatures. But my version was a little bit more similar to what my opponent's up to over here. Winter Orb. That's definitely different. So they're heavy on the disruption plan. That's a big draw. I think like I have to kill the Carrion Ranger here, because that's going to basically offset the Winter Orb. So Ranger down, swing because it's free. Take 1. Or they have bolt. Okay. I mean, it's not the best, but it'll do. Also, it taps yet another land, so now I cannot get Avalanche Ridered, which is good for me, obviously. Man, what I like what my opponent's up to over there. I kind of dig it. Looks fun. Looks very, very fun. Opponent's not drawing with library, which I don't understand. Like, I would be drawing so much more aggressively than my opponent is drawing right now. Horned Kavu? Alright, so my opponent has earned it. My opponent has earned it. I think... I mean, I just have to War Chief here, right? Just gotta War Chief and just pass it back. But I just need for my stuff to be cheaper. This Winter Orb is doing me dirty. 3/4. Horned Kavu. It's not one you see every day, huh? So I'm assuming my opponent's gotta have multiple ETB style creatures then. Or stuff like maybe like Wall of Roots or like Wall of Blossoms and stuff like that. They just gotta be doing that kind of stuff in order to like leverage a card like Horned Kavu. Here's a red source on tap. Pile Driver. They have port now? So, I think we're gonna play Pile Driver here, but I'm not gonna attack. Because if my opponent, like I could have just passed the turn and like attempted to port, to untap, but then they port me and it's kind of a blowout for me. Right, yeah, my opponent should definitely be drawing some cards here. They're basically just like drawing, they have, like, library has been a Mirror's Guile, and there we go, like they finally take the damage. They should have done that a while ago, right? Like, because that would have mean that they get to the key point a little bit sooner. Like, they would have looked at those cards sooner as well. So, if I attack with Fanatic, I think I just have to use Fanatic to ping the bird. If I attack with Fanatic, Pile Driver, Matron, we get in there for 5. Then they block here. That's probably fine. I'm obviously not attacking with War Chief. War Chief is way too valuable. But I think this is a fine attack. I don't think my opponent has Bolt, because if they had it, they would have killed the War Chief already. Okay, so we are taking the trade here. Damage. Let's see what my opponent's got here. They do have port. They untap port, which is interesting because like they kind of, if nothing changes, like I'm going to eventually get there because they're tapping 2 lands to tap 1 of mine. So like they can just block the War Chief a couple of times, but eventually they're gonna run out of this Wall of Roots. So we are like in a kind of weird stalemate right here. My opponent's looking at more cards, but I don't know how well they can leverage those more cards that they're seeing, which is what's interesting. I am really wondering whether I should be siding out Naturalize. It's quite interesting actually. Like, I still don't have enough information about my opponent's deck, they seem to be doing some mana denial thing, and they seem to have, like, they obviously have artifacts and enchantments, but I would expect them to side out the library and probably also side out Winter Orb in game 2. So I don't know if I want to commit to having access to have these random naturalizes chilling in there. Abundance. You draw a card, we choose a land or not and reveal cards. Okay. That's a combo with Sylvan Library. Love that. That's awesome. Abundance. So, this is really interesting. So if I swing, so I can really limit my opponent's mana capabilities. Because I'm considering just playing as Ringleader, see what I find, or I'm also considering Matron for... If I Matron... Oh, I can Matron... Oh, that's so much better. Yeah, we just Matron for Pile Driver, right? We Matron for Pile Driver. Opponent is forced to chump and they go to 2. Yeah, that seems like the best line by a mile. Yeah, and this is what I was saying about War Chief, right? Like, it's just giving me such an incredible advantage. Like, now my opponent goes down to 2. They have Winter Orb, which is actually hurting them. And we still have, unless they have a Sweeper that they can cast off of 2 mana, then they just die. So this looks pretty good for me. Ancient Tomb was revealed. Revealing Ancient Tomb at 2. Wow. Jesus. Wow. Argothian Worm? Burning Wish? More Winter Orbs? Alright, so my opponent is doing some stuff over there. They are doing some stuff. So... The removal sounds great, and in fact, Pyrokinesis sounds ridiculous, right? They're trying to mana denial me, and I can just, like, cast free spells. So this seems fantastic. I am gonna cut the naturalizes, I think. I just don't... unless my opponent shows me some, like, combo finish style thing, I think that the naturalizes are not good enough. This may be bad. Again, I don't have enough information about my opponent's deck, but like as you saw, their enchantments and artifacts, even though they have a bunch of them, they're not particularly effective against what I'm doing because I'm just like getting them dead. So, like if they want to durdle with those things, like I kind of welcome that. Second Sharpshooter is interesting. We can maybe cut a Siege Gang. I'm bringing a second Sharpshooter over what? Over Pile Driver? Probably not. Prospector seems fantastic, so probably not over Prospector. I can just like just leave the Singleton Siege Gang. Turn 1 lucky. Yeah, we don't mulligan these. we don't mulligan these. Also, we have decent mana too, which is nice. Point again, leading on Carp Forest. You're so lucky. Like they could be bolting here, but like I'm not gonna not play my lucky on 1, right? That's fine. So now we can Pile Driver on 2, War Chief on 3. Really doubt they have Winter Orb. Okay, Will of Roots is annoying. Let's play Pile Driver. Save go. And I'm playing out the forest because, I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter. Like if they have Avalanche Riders, they're just gonna go for my mountain regardless. So that's really changing. Argothian Worm. Well, you have a 6/6 because there's not too much I can do about that. 4 mana 6/6 it is. Here's War Chief and your go. Like they're if they attack with the worm, like that is a 3-turn clock, and they're yeah, the second one is rough. So. Oh, what can this Matron do for me? If I Matron, what do I Matron for? Because I could Siege Gang. Oh, we just Matron for... Yeah, I think I just put this on top. So I'm just going to sack this forest just to tempo them a little bit. And yeah, I can just go Matron for Pile Driver. And we're winning the race fairly easily. Like, my opponent can't attack with the worm. They attack? I don't think this is a good attack. Yeah, like they just... Wow, really? Yeah, I don't think that's a good attack. Well, Matron for Pile Driver. Worked last game. It's gonna work this one as well. And if their play is to like play another Argothian Worm, we literally just win. Pile drivers just like swing the race so wildly. This is a combo. This is a hell of a combo. If they just play the worm again, I'm just gonna sack my land and we just win, right? So, got me. This is the problem with this card, right? This is the issue with this card. It's like if it's actually good for your opponent to do this, like it's really, really bad for you because there's no way that they can do anything about it. Let's play a king, and the king has spoken. All right. Well, that was a fun deck that my opponent was. I guess like it's some sort of like Ponza deck. I'm gonna ask them how they would categorize it because that was kind of cool. All right, see you next round. Round number 4, baby, and this one's a little too slow. Gonna have to ship it back. No lander. Send it back. Down to 5, but this is a strong 5, however. Let's keep this. I'm just gonna bottom. I think I'm So, if I bottom Siege Gang, then I get to go Lucky into Fanatic. And then if my opponent plays an X1 blocker, I can just like work around it that way. If I bottom the Fanatic, then it's gonna be really tough for me to break through with the Lucky. And then there's like the extra greedy play of just bottoming the second land, but I don't think that's right. So I think it's between bottoming either one of these two. Because also if my Lucky dies, a Ringleader is the most castable. I think I'm gonna go with Siege. We may obviously get punished in a variety of different ways, right? So, okay. Well, I'm gonna go turn 1 Lucky. So if my opponent's playing Nought, then they kind of have to do it right now. Green. Aquamoeba. Brutal. Okay. So, here's a Prospector. And I'm leaning on Prospector because I care more about my opponent killing my Prospector than killing my Fanatic. So my opponent's on Madness. Man, if we had been on the play, we're probably very heavy favorites to win this game. I'm just gonna pass it back. I could throw away a dude in order to get things going, but like one of the main ways that I can get out of this situation is by drawing Gem Palm Incinerator, and if I throw away a dude, then my Gem Palm does not kill the Aquamoeba, so it actually puts me in a worse spot. So it's a very awkward situation we find ourselves in. Ugh. Yeah, I'm probably just gonna chill here. Yeah. Also, like, I'm playing into the Ace, I'm playing into, Circular Logic, like, it's disaster, right? So Survival makes an appearance, and Wasteland makes an appearance. Another Lucky, okay. So at this point, I think we sack Fanatic and play Matron. Like, we're just too far behind at this point, right? I have to start doing stuff. Days, okay. I'm gonna pay. They actually just hard cast the Days, which is funny. So I have to find Incinerator here. I mean, at this point... Maybe no, yeah, Incinerator's fine. I mean, I can't win anymore, right? Like I'm just too far behind. Like the mulliganing has hurt me too much. I don't think I can realistically come back from this. If I had found land number 3, maybe I could have been able to come back. But as is, my opponent's gonna start spitting out Aquamoebas and Arrogant Worms. Genesis. Okay, that one probably not gonna matter too much. That's too mana intensive. So if I draw land, I can go Lucky into kill Aquamoeba. Yeah, but at that point, my opponent is just gonna they're gonna start to spit out Root Wallace, which is not great for me. Careful Study, just main facing the Study. If they had Study, why? That's weird. Like, what's the point of not getting Squee? A little bit strange there. All right, here's a Pile Driver. Counterspell. Okay. That sucks. They have no creatures in hand? Wow, they just have no creatures. They have to bring back Genesis. Wow. Wild. I mean, at this point, that means like two Root Wallace. Yeah, things are rough now. Take it. You got me. Mountain. Turn 7. Classic turn 7 Mountain. If I War Chief. So my opponent's got Genesis in hand. I think I have to War Chief. Because War Chief is the only way that I can actually start to push through for Like actually start going wide. Just gonna get some wild ass into play here. Oh, now they're discarding squeeze. We got no green source even if we do find naturalize at this point. So things not looking great for the good guys. Although to be fair, madness are always the good guys in my eyes, so opponent's probably gonna get Wonder here. I mean, if I were my opponent, I think I would get Arrogant Worm. Getting 4/4 into play seems particularly attractive. Squee and Genesis triggers go on the stack. So opponent's hand is Wonder plus Squee plus 2 unknowns. Discard Wonder. They get a Worm. Yeah, there's a Worm. So like I can kill the Worm with Gem Palm. I don't know how relevant that is. Same thing with I guess I can't. I could kill the Aquamibo as well if I really wanted to. Probably not gonna do that though. This is rough. Wild Mongrel. Okay, just cast the Mongrel. All right, discards Squee to Aquamibo. Take 4. Not that I can do too much about that. Land is good. So now I can play Goblin King, cycle Gem Palm, killing the Worm, draw a card, see what I find, and I can sack. If I sack Matron to get a Lackey into play, does that really do anything for me? Not really. How much am I taking next turn? This is 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, up to 13. So I'm not taking lethal. Never mind, they're getting Squee back, so they are getting... No, this is 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yeah, we're not taking lethal because they have to discard a card to make Aquamibo a 3/1. So we're not taking lethal here. The thing is that if I attack with both of these, my opponent can just take it. And I can't throw away either one of these. So if I sack the Matron, I basically force my opponent to discard a card here, which is probably worth doing. And I'm gonna swing with Prospector, but I really don't want them to kill the Prospector. But here my opponent is gonna block the Lackey and discard, force them to discard a card. Take 2. Yeah, because otherwise they could have gotten back Genesis and I'm taking lethal. Because they have 7 mana. So 3 to Genesis, 2 to pump, 2 to pump. Yeah. So it was just the right play to attack, otherwise I was literally dead on board. Okay. So now they don't have lethal. And I can technically Matron for another Gem Palm. Not super stoked about that though. Is there any way that I can force more chumps? Awesome. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that what I can do here is I can get the dude that I can kill both of my opponents' Root Wallace here with what's his name? Sharpshooter. So that's probably worth doing. Where are you? Sharpshooter. There we go. So this kills both Root Wallace. Wait a second. Can I actually set something up here? Let's think about this. Because I can start to do Prospector thing. Because I can sack 1, 2, 3. That's 4 damage. And I can play Ringleader. But then at that point, my Prospector is gone. Yeah, I'm probably serving with... So this is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh no, now they don't have... Now, Sharpshooter means Aquamiba can't kill me anymore. So... Oh, but they still have Squee in hand, which they can discard for another Squee. That's 2 more cards. Man, like this Mongrel's like destroying me right here. I mean, realistically, this is what's winning here, but like the Mongrel is getting out of control. So they get back Genesis. That's 3 mana. Then they're gonna have 3 survival activations and 5 cards in hand. 6 cards in hand. I guess that's not lethal. But Matron can get in there, I think. If Matron gets in there, opponent blocks with Worm. Then I ping the Worm. Matron dies this and taps. So that's fine. Matron can actually get in there. Okay. There's 2 damage. Sharpshooter and taps. Ping there. Sharpshooter and taps again. Here we go. What are we discarding now? Man, I can't believe we're still playing, honestly. I cannot believe that we're still playing right now. Opponents search for an arrogant worm. So their hand is Worm, Squee, Genesis. Worm, Squee, Genesis. Okay. So Aquamoeba can't serve, and Mongrel can't either. Okay. Untap. Just gonna cast this Ringleader, see what's up. That's not a good draw, by the way. Okay. So I have only one castable, really? If I attack with everything, minus the Sharpshooter, opponent discards Rootwalla. They discard Worm, sorry. To Mongrel, probably. They block 1, 2, 3. Probably 1, 2, 3. They take 1, 2, 3, 4. I guess they're probably not blocking the Lackey. They are blocking the Lackey, I mean. But I'm dead next turn otherwise, so I think this is just a forced attack at this point. Maybe this Sharpshooter can like shoot down my opponent's entire board. They discard to the Mongrel though, as opposed to discarding to the other guy. Yeah, so blocking the king makes sense. Block Lackey. So we're gonna go to damage. Imagine my opponent's gonna discard something to the Mongrel. They do. So now is when things get tricky. Because now we're gonna see some triggers go on the stack. And I'm gonna have to figure out how to... There's gonna be 1, 2, 3 things going to the graveyard, which means 3 untaps for the Sharpshooter. I'm gonna have to choose where the spinks are going to. The first one is going to the Aquamoeba because it's free. So that's free. We untap. Then we go after... If I go after Mongrel, I have 1, that's 1 card. 2, that's 2 cards. 3, that's 3 cards. 4, so my opponent needs to discard their entire hand, and I can still sack stuff to Prospector to make this happen. So I think this is good. So now we untap. First trigger. Shoot it again. Discarding Survival. Now Wild Mongrel is green. Now back to being black. Another untap. Wait. Did I have lethal? Did I just miss lethal here? I think I may have missed lethal. I didn't even think about going face, honestly. Shoot it down. Now we untap. And I guess I can kill this, but if I kill this, it's probably not a good line for me. Yeah, I guess I needed to go face, actually. Oh, actually, I think I needed to kill the Arrogant Worm and then go face with the rest, so my opponent is not presenting lethal anymore. I think that was the line. So they get back a Mongrel and they get back Squee. I'm surprised. I guess Rootwallas don't really do anything. Never mind. I have Sharpshooter. All right, opponent's getting in there. So if I naturalize, that forces my opponent to play. I think they have a Worm in hand. So if I naturalize this, I force their hand. So I think that's worth doing. Yeah. So there's the Worm. They Survival. And we're just gonna jam this War Chief, I guess. Get another Worm. Play War Chief. Swing, swing, swing. Okay. Ping there. Get an untap. Pass the turn back. If I can win this game, this is probably one of the best games of Magic that I've played in a while. It's very close, though. It's very close. And I'm still pretty sure that I should have gone face last turn instead of trying to kill my opponent's dudes. I should have killed the Arrogant Worm. I think that part I should have done. Okay. Do they have another Worm in hand as well as the Mongrel? What a wild game. What a wild game. So what do I want to draw here? Counterspell. Ugh. That's brutal. So if I attack with Ringleader and Prospector, opponent blocks the Prospector. They take 2, 3, 4. Ugh. If I just attack with Ringleader, opponent blocks, but then they kill me with the Arrogant Worm. This is 1 point of damage as is if I cast Matron. So I cast Matron, sack Ringleader, that's 1 point. Then I sack Matron, play a 1-drop, that's 2 points. Then I sack the 1-drop, that's 3 points, 4 points. I can bring my opponent down to 1? Really? I can just bring them down to 1? That's brutal. But if I attack with just Ringleader, I think my opponent's going to block. I think that I just have to have my opponent make a mistake here, which I don't think they're going to make, because they've been playing well. Oh, yeah, that's good enough for me. That is good enough for me. All right, so, damn, Sharpshooter, Jesus. This card did some work. Okay, so. We're on the play. Is Sharpshooter, second Sharpshooter, just sick in this matchup? Like, it really looked good there. So I think I'm gonna go with another copy of Sharpshooter. Gem Palm seems great. Siege Gang seems a little bit slow. How do we feel about Rev and Pyro? Probably 2 copies are fine. I don't think I want Naturalizes. Like, they're fine to, like, stop survival, but I don't think that's what the game's gonna be about. Pyrokinesis is very interesting, however. Pyro is super, super interesting. I think I'm just gonna pass on it, though. Okay, what do we got here? I guess I keep this. I mean, I've seen better hands, but turn 1 basic mountain go is not the most exciting Goblin start. If I find land drops, though, I think I'm gonna be in good shape. Not great. I'm gonna start with Pile Driver here. My opponent could have Blue Elemental Blast, probably. But if they have Daze and they Daze this, like, that puts them, yeah, I don't. That's awful for us, but whatever. Rootwalla. Gonna ping that right now. Ugh. So if they have Frantic Search, I lose the game, but there's nothing I can do about it because my hand just sucks. Like, I just not hitting my land drops. Oh my god, this resolved. Oh wow. Well, I was not expecting that. Ringleader, I guess? If I War Chief, I can also Matron right now. But I think Matron will be countered. I think I'm gonna Ringleader. Okay. That's some gobos. No 2-drops though, unfortunately. Wow, they just have nothing? No Frantic Search? Which hand did they keep? Just a counterspell hand, I guess? Aquamiva. That's fine. Land. Sure. I can go for Goblin King or I can go for War Chief here. I think I want to go for King. I doubt they have Daze, so we're just gonna serve with everything. They could have had another Rootwalla, but I can just, like, ping, so it's fine. And now that that has 2 damage, I'm gonna sack Fanatic to it to prevent my opponent from, if they draw a Ruin the Worm, prevent them from having an enabler. They're just hard casting a worm here. That's fine. Land? Perfect. So, what now? If I War Chief, yeah, because if I War Chief here, now I can double spell next turn. Even though it's awkward this turn, but it's gonna make up for a great turn next one. I could have attacked with everything, and my opponent's forced to block Lackey, and then they take 8. Maybe that's worth doing, particularly if they have another worm here. Hardcast Wonder, alright. That's a way to do it, I guess. That is a way to do it. Pile Driver. Got a Matron over here. I'm gonna say yes. So if I get another Pile Driver, we can go double Pile Driver. My opponent is forced to block both Pile Driver. Oh, they can't even. So one of the Pile Drivers is getting through. And then they just take lethal. Each Pile Driver is gonna be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, that's probably good enough. Pile Driver. Pile Driver. Really? Interesting. Okay, so if we attack with everything, opponent blocks and blocks. They take 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Seems good enough to me. Seems tough for them to come back from this spot. And next turn we also have Matron for Gem Palm. Yeah. So I guess my opponent kept a hand with, like, Hydroblasts and stuff. Does that mean that I want Pyroblast more? I think so. Maybe I don't want Goblin King on the draw. And we saw how awkward Siege Gang can be. So I'm gonna leave 1 so I can tutor for Matron if I really wanted to in a specific scenario, but maybe a one-off fun-off Pyrokinesis. Alright. Interesting. Okay, gonna keep this. This is interesting because I can go. I think I'm just gonna pass the turn on 1, hold up Reb. I could play out a Prospector, but that means that if I want to Rev an Aquamiva or something, I need to sack the Prospector, which I don't really want to. Ooh, that's nice. Yeah, we're definitely doing this. If they had a basic, they would have probably played it there. So I think that Wasteland in their coast is a good place to go there. Another blue source. So no green. Here's a Prospector. Pass the turn. This is the most obvious red elemental blast of all time, but what are we gonna do, right? Mongrel. So they also have their own Reb over there. If I War Chief here, I think I'm gonna Prospector and pass the turn back. Because I'm allowing my opponent to use their mana efficiently if I play like a card worth casting Pyroblast on or Hydroblast on, and I don't really want to do that. Survival kind of awkward when you have a single green source and it's a painful one. It's not bad. All right, so now we're going to play War Chief. Play Hydroblast or whatever. They're gonna red back. I would like for my War Chief to actually receive. They can trade the days for a Prospector if they want to. Pass the turn. That was a good Wasteland on the Maya coast. The thing is now if they have a Reb, they can actually just kill my War Chief. And I just always feel like Wasteland is just so awkward in the Madness deck. Like this could be a green source, right? Yeah, there's the Hydroblast that we knew about all along. Here's a Pile Driver. Do we have another one? No. Here's a Matron. And I think... Is this a Matron for Matron situation? I could also see Matron for Siege Gang, honestly. Actually, let's just Matron for Ringleader. Set up next turn. So if I attack with everything, opponent just blocks on the Mongrel. It's probably not great, so I'm just going to pass it back. Opponent takes a point to... Okay, so they had Root Well. That's a good thing I didn't attack, but I would have traded my Prospectors for nothing. They can't do this infinitely, though. This match has been wild. I don't think they have enough to like go doing squee things just yet. Yeah, they're just trying to go wide. Makes sense. They should be Wasteland me for sure. I mean, obviously not right now. They should do it during their turn. Yeah, that's what I was saying. They should 100% Wasteland during their turn there. I may get punished for this Ringleader thing. Maybe I should have gotten a second Sharpshooter. Maybe that was just the play. Well, here's Ringleader. You have Counterspell? No Counterspell. That's big. Boom. That's huge. Absolutely massive. Damn, Ringleader's so good. So this resolves, so I'm assuming they have nothing. And they can't set up lethal here. So I'm just going to get second Sharpshooter here and set up for next turn. And unless they find counter magic next turn, they're dead. Arrogant Worm. Yeah, that's fine. That doesn't do anything. If they Arrogant Worm, that means I kill their 1/1s for free, right? So Worm doesn't do anything. Should probably got another... I guess, yeah, Root Well doesn't really do anything. So Counterspell is kind of the only card that matters here. Let's start with War Chief. Now let's play a 1-mana Sharpshooter. Counterspell? Yeah. Wow, what a match! What a match! We see the power of survival in game 1, but we also see the awkwardness of Blue-Green Madness mana on game 3, right? And this is just like, imagine if these two Wasteland had been green sources. We would have been talking about a much different game, right? Because my opponent would have had a lot more flexibility. But instead they have like these Wastelands that just tap for colorless in a deck that is extremely color intensive. So it's rough. Like that's one of the main weaknesses and one of my main arguments against the Madness deck. Even though it's sweet and it's just so much fun, but the mana is just super rough. What a game. What a game though. What a match. Last match. Let's see what we got. I think we keep this one. It's definitely an awkward one, and there are certain matchups that this hand is just terrible against, but I think it's okay. UW Maya Coast. Oh. So because of UW Maya Coast, I think that this is just Hermit. This is the deck that I played last time, so I'm just gonna concede here. Like we can't win, right? So we want these for sure. We want probably Naturalizes and Pyroblast is just so awkward. King and Sharpshooter probably don't matter. Gem Palm seems fine because all it needs to do is just 1 damage. Siege Gang can go. Reb and Pyroblast only counter Stifle and like Vision Charm. Though that's literally the only thing that they do. These Answers Dreadnought. I think I'm just gonna cut Siege Gang. Actually, because they don't have that many ways of stopping a Lackey, right? So maybe Siege Gang is not that bad, particularly on the play. I think Pile Driver is probably gonna be worse. Oh, no, Mock Fanatic kills Hermit. So definitely Mock Fanatic. It probably is Pile Driver, right? It's gotta be Pile. Okay. I guess I keep. Maybe I should be hard mulliganing towards either Naturalize or a way to deal with, what's his name? Like a Pyroblast or something like that. Or a Lackey. Maybe this is just a bad keep in the matchup. The Wasteland is just so tempting, right? It's a deck that literally plays no basic lands. So this may be close. This may be close. Maybe I'm just wrong. Particularly when my opponent knows that, you know, they just went turn 1 Dreadnought. There's the river. Ugh, that sucks. I do think that I want to delay the game, so I'm just going to play Wasteland and just Wasteland them on their upkeep. They're playing Stifle, right? So I'm supposed to waste them on their upkeep. If they want to stifle my Wasteland, then they have to tap their mana, which means I can't get Dreadnought at this turn. Tight plays getting rewarded. You love to see it. So now I'm just trying to draw towards an answer to Dreadnought. A lot of our ways. Duress, Whiffs. That's good for me. It's definitely good for me. Unfortunately, I don't have a Goblin. What's the name of the Goblin? Prospector's a fine draw there. But there's a Goblin that blows up artifacts. Have literally my Goblins deck right here, so I can tell you right now what the name of that Goblin is. Goblin Tinker. And he looks like this. And he likes to blow up artifacts. That's what he does. That's his thing. Okay, so opponent goes for Druid, which is interesting. So I guess we attack with both creatures, and then we attempt to ping. Yeah, so they don't take the trade. Now we ping. See what my opponent does. Okay. So we're gonna Matron for, I guess, another Fanatic. If I Matron for Lackey, I can play it out right now. Yeah, I guess I'm doing that. So this means that next turn I can attack, connect with Lackey, put Ringleader into play, and then we can go from there. Opponent could have the 2-mana thing that brings back the Druid, and they could have exactly Reanimate in hand, and then we would lose the game. What's the name of the card? Oh, they just reanimated Druid. Okay, that's a pretty good draw. So we're gonna swing again. So we connect, which is great. Opponent down to 8. We're gonna put Ringleader into play. Maybe opponent will stifle the trigger. That would be interesting. War Chief. That sucks. So here's a Matron. And we're gonna tutor for Mock Fanatic. And we're gonna kill the Hermit Druid, right? They could have Stifle for the Fanatic trigger, but I can only do so much. I can only do so much. Shallow Grave, that's the card that I was thinking of. I played this deck the other day. I know how it works. Boom, we got there. Excellent, excellent, excellent. So my opponent, funny enough, we would have been able to beat the Dreadnought draw as well, because we did end up drawing the Naturalize, which is funny. Okay, so we probably can't beat turn 1 Dreadnought. I'm considering whether, since I'm on the draw, I should be bringing in Pyroblasts. That's what I'm considering right now. Maybe Gem Palms are just, I'm gonna leave 1, but maybe Gem Palms are just worse than Pyrokinesis, because this costs 0 mana. I'm gonna be on the draw, I'm gonna be far behind. Alright, last game. Yeah, keeping this. Turn 1 Lackey into an answer to a quick Hermit. Yeah, we're doing this. We're doing this. We lose to turn 1 Dreadnought because I'm gonna take 12 on the first swing and then I'm gonna be dead on the second one. So if they are turn 1 Dreadnought, c'est la vie. That's good. That's fantastic. That is absolutely fantastic draw. Alright, opponent going for the Dreadnought plan. And we have one of our Naturalizes, so I don't think they have any 0 mana interaction. If they're playing the list that I played last time, I don't think they have a way to stop this. And then I can just go for Siege Gang here. Damn, this is just like the dream hand. The absolute dream hand. Now this is not only like a sick clock, but it's also like a way to interact with the Hermit Druid plan. We also have a Matron coming up. I guess they could have like another Dreadnought into Stifle, and that would make things a little bit more awkward. But can I raise Dreadnought into Stifle? I attack with everything. I may be able to raise it. Didn't do the math, but that's a Druid. Not leaving up blue mana, notably. Not leaving up blue mana. Another seed. Gonna attack with everything. I'm gonna see if my opponent does anything. If they don't, I'm just gonna connect. I'm gonna put in Matron into play. And I'm gonna get Mog Fanatic. And I'm gonna play Fanatic, and I'm gonna kill this with... I guess I still have Pyrokinesis, so I can just play this out. And that's a lethal attacker. So they could have exactly... Their last 3 cards could need to be Land, Shallow Grave, and Reanimate. And if that's the case, I think I lose. But there's nothing I can do about that. If those are their cards, then I just lose. Gotta play around what you can beat, and just ignore what you can't. Cabal Therapy themselves. Okay. Alright. So they're gonna reanimate Sutured Ghoul. But it doesn't have haste, it's just a 12/12. Like, I just get around that. I mean, just a blocker from my pile driver. That's funny. 13/13. My opponent says, I don't think this is gonna get me there. I'm like, so close though. So close. Well, that was incredible. That was really, really cool. Holy crap. This deck was so much fun. Jesus, like... that was a great set of matches. Like, every single match that I played was crazy back and forth. There was like a ton of play to it. My tutoring mattered. My sequencing mattered. Like, it was just so cool. Like, and I was very impressed by this card in particular. Like, this was relevant in situations where I was not necessarily sure how relevant it was gonna be, you know? And it just ended up super overperforming. Like, the combination between these and Skirt Prospector really allows for some nasty things going on. And also, I think Pile Driver was the single card that I tutored for the most with Matron. I think it's safe to call this a combo. I think it's safe to call this a combo. And what I've been doing, in case you have noticed, is I have been like, as I win these leagues, the tickets that I get from winning the leagues, I basically put towards buying the cards in all frames. So I have like these ugly pile drivers, these ugly Carpus and Forest. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to like slowly get it to the point where I have like the decks in full old frame. And I think that these boys have earned, they have earned their old frame. Let me say it like that. So, yeah, I don't even know if this is the best Goblins deck list out there. All I will say is that every single card that is in here did what it was supposed to do, and it was awesome. And it worked out perfectly. Shout out to the Singleton Anarchy. This is not a card that I have seen in every Goblins deck list, but it is a card that kind of impressed me when I see it out of Sly. So in matches that I've seen in like the Aero Champs and stuff like that, the Anarchy out of Sly looked very good, and I thought, oh, that could very easily go in Gobos. So I threw it in there, and when I played against the Landstill deck, it was just an absolute all-star. So shout out to Anarchy in there. And yeah, I don't know if this is the best Goblins deck list out there, but I can only say that it's a 100% win rate deck list. That's all I can really say. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you leave a comment down below and you hit that follow and subscribe button while you're at it. If you would like to use either mana traders, if you want to rent this deck and play in the league like I just did, or if you would like to buy cards from TCG Player, you can support the stream for free while you do so if you use the links that you will find in the description of the video down below. And for mana traders, I also have a discount code for the first couple of months. So again, check out the code in the description of the video as well. And finally, if you would like to support my content, there's a couple of ways that you can do so. You can do so through Patreon. You can do so by making donations. With any donation of $30 or more, I will play any deck list of your choosing. Or if you want to just like send me a tip, I also take those as well. And if you would like to book coaching sessions with me, that's also available. All you need to do is you need to check out the description of the video and you will find all the information you need in there. Thank you so much for watching, and long live Premodern.